Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Mr. Sai Baba Vutukuri, CEO at Bikram Solar, joining in. Welcome to the show, Mr. Vutukuri. My first question coming to you over here is COVID-19. Now, this pandemic has actually impacted sectors, economies across, and there is no sector or no space that has been left untouched. Now, yes, there was a positive that the retail sector did see with regards to the splurge in buying. However, how big an impact it has created, according to you, on the larger economy and the renewable energy sector in particular?
I think basically this has had an absolute far-reaching and devastating kind of effects
Mm,
on the complete world economy, as we all know. It's like
mm,
it's at least we lost, in my opinion, 2-3 years of growth. By the time it comes back to normal, and it has put many of the people below poverty line.
mm,
It's absolutely a huge impact on the global economy. And
mm.
when it comes to India, I think this has come at the worst time. I think
Right.
economy was really struggling, and the banks issues and whatever we have had, and struggling to get the GDP growing. And in the meantime, we got this pandemic also happening. And we all know that GDP has contracted,
Yes.
and also and in the similar way, solar industry also specific to our industry. If I look at it, is substantially affected.
Mm,
Uh, uh, the liquidity for the manufacturers and even developers, everybody's liquidity has sucked out, and supply chain has disruption has affected a lot of large projects, small projects, all projects. The entire project pipeline got affected because of the supply chain issues.
mm.
Um, Also, for solar, especially, this has one more large impact which we have had in terms of the price rise. Unfortunately, the component prices have substantially gone up.
Gone up.
One is the supplies are not there. So the manufacturing was affected, the logistics got affected, because many of the consignment got stuck in China, and in Europe and in US and all that. So, and on top of that, the employees were not coming to the factories to manufacture, and the social distancing norms and all that we have to follow. With all these issues, the entire value chain in even the projects execution is very badly affected. So the
Mm.
entire sector is absolutely, got into big time impact on the sector, on the
Right.
industry.
Right. So, what has been the impact on your company overall?
Of course, I mean, like any other company, we have had our own share of setbacks.
Absolutely.
Like the manufacturing got there is a clear contraction in China as far as manufacturing is concerned,
Mm,
and it has absolutely disrupted supply chain, even our supply chain. Whatever orders we have placed, the material was not coming. There was shortage of materials, different material. One material is there and another material may not be there. So you could not produce the entire product. And the of course the working capital issues were there. The inventory pile up was there because there were no offtake.
mm.
The raw material, the sufficient quantities were not there, so production could not happen. So there's a huge impact in the last 7-8 months.
Mm.
Fortunately, as a company, we have had a very good order book to take us through. While many companies are much more badly affected, we are relatively better off, to be honest with you,
Mm.
as a company. Yeah.
Correct. And overall, now the pace of execution of solar energy projects has slowed down as well, because one concern has been labor. How is the situation now if you have to compare or take a transition from the lockdown that happened in the last week of March to now?
There is a substantial improvement. Okay,
Mm.
in the month of April, May, June was practically it was during lockdown. Nothing was happening. When the lockdown started easing out, there is people started returning in small numbers, I would say. Okay, and the manpower is slowly returning back to normalcy, but it will take a lot of time, as what I could see.
Mm.
All projects which are held up, which are stopped from execution, so they have restarted, but with 25-30% kind of manpower, not 100%. So there is a huge impact. Absolutely. I don't know whether the entire migrant labor who have gone to their native places, uh, how long they will, they lost confidence. To be frank, because they could not get. Everybody has provided enough support. That support was not enough. They all gone back. I don't know how they will all return to their works and start recontributing to the projects and execution side of the business.
Mm. Right. And when you talk about execution as well, now clearly if you go to see the government, or I think everyone is promoting moving to renewable energy. And at this current point in time, what's happening is projects are slowing down. How would you advise to deal with this situation?
No, I think there is a lot the state has to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, the businesses are affected. The whole economy got derailed. The growth has got derailed. There is a lower confidence among people, basically, and the demand, how the demand is going to pan out, most industries are concerned about, because the purchasing power of the people is also badly affected. So this is the time the government of India, and all state governments have to move forward, come forward, and the banks have to take a positive view of the whole thing
Mm.
to revive the whole economy. So in my opinion, I think the government is doing reasonably an excellent job. I mean, whatever initiatives they have been taken by the government of India, I must appreciate that they have been proactive and they have been trying to bring in policies and all that, in a very positive way, like the kind of the the 8-10 sectors have been identified. They want to make them as Atmanirbhar Bharat and increase the manufacturing base within India, which is a very, very positive move. And also trying to labor reforms and trying to give additional working capital to the manufacturing industries.
Mm.
All these are all positive steps. In my opinion, there is a lot more to be done. I think definitely the governments have to be a little more proactive. What's happening is the benefits, whatever are announced, they are not reaching out to the industries and consumers in a big way. I think there is a gap. There is a little bit of time gap is also there. I think we need to ensure that the reforms or the decisions or the policy decisions which have been taken, they get actually translated into action on the ground.
Hmm. Right. So, when I was looking at the solar import data as well, in the month of September itself, it was almost 77% less than what we imported a year ago. What does this actually mean, and how big an impact is this in terms of imports?
So it's actually a huge impact. This import, generally, solar industry imports close to about 85% plus of their requirements from China and all other countries around. There is a substantial reduction in imports, mainly because the projects were not happening, during this pandemic time. Uh, of course, it has got a major impact on the economics of the projects because working capital costs have gone up, and the timelines also the project timelines are also got elongated. So now with less number of manpower coming in and all that. So while the government has given a force majeure kind of a thing for the projects of about 5 months, okay, that is absolutely not sufficient at all. We will have to again increase the period beyond 5 months to I think probably another 5-6 months additional time period has to be given for the projects to happen. Otherwise, we'll only be creating more problems to the existing developers and manufacturers.
Right. But, another thing I want to understand is the government is giving out a lot of subsidies as well, for projects which are projects which are using solar. Now, if the government is providing these kind of subsidies where you have to pay only monthly EMIs, which actually compensate for your electricity bill, then why are, projects being stalled?
No, I mean, there are two different kind of projects. One is centralized large scale projects, which are almost 80% of the market is large scale projects today.
Okay.
So these large scale projects of the size of 300 megawatt, 500 megawatt kind of projects, which are very, very large in nature, having a capital investment of close to 1,500, 2,000 crores. So these projects actually got stalled quite a lot because of the manpower issues, working capital issues, the other supply chain issues. The other part, what you're talking about is small rooftop installations. For rooftop installation during pandemic and all that, number one, it's not a priority for anybody, right? So as the consumers are struggling, many people lost their jobs, and have had salary cuts. This is not the priority for them to go for a solar kind of an investment at this point in time. They in terms of priority, they're not giving top priority for this investment. So that's one of the reasons why it is slowing down. But that's not a major kind of an impact because most of the solar imports are done by large scale projects in the country as of now.
Right. And overall, we are heavily dependent, as you mentioned as well, on imported solar cells and modules. Now, the government is promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat. Taking that into consideration, do you think our pie on the manufacturing side, especially with regards to solar cells and modules, is increasing? Are companies setting up manufacturing units on that front? Because currently, in terms of our imports as well, I think China accounted for almost 88%. Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, Singapore are all in that bracket of 2 to 3% each. Do you think we will be able to achieve any share in this pie?
We will definitely. See, very important thing is many of our supplying countries, like China and a couple of other countries, they give a lot of incentives to their manufacturing companies. They want to get scale. They want to dominate the industry. So they give a lot of incentives. And second thing is thereby, they have actually built solar industry, manufacturing industry in a very, very strong footing in their countries. They got an excellent ecosystem. They got large scale manufacturing bases there. Whereas India has always been, last 10 years, has been focusing more on consumption of energy from solar power. Never looked at manufacturing as a kind of a thing. Now, fortunately, with Atmanirbhar Bharat, what is announced by Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi, I think there is a tremendous amount of focus on manufacturing today. Okay, so what we have to do is basically we need to create a ecosystem in the country with the supply chain. Number one. Number two, we will have to stop certain countries who are dumping the product into the country by introducing trade barriers and tariff-based trade barriers and non-tariff based trade barriers as well. For example, the government of India is planning to introduce BCD, Basics Customs Duty, which is excellent move. Because it will stop these, what you call unfair trade practices by some of these countries. And it will give protection to the Indian manufacturer. That's a welcome move. But unfortunately, that is not translating into action. It has been announced more than 3-4 months. Still, the BCD has not been introduced on the ground.
Yeah, right.
Which is actually many of the companies, manufacturing companies like us. Of course, I mean, we are going ahead with our expansion plans. We believe the government of India's intent and commitment to build the manufacturing base in India. We are going ahead with that. But many of the other manufacturers are really thinking twice whether this BCD is definitely going to come or their incentives are going to be given, like production-based incentive. The government wants to introduce. It is still to happen. I think there are a lot of efforts are going on to introduce, but there is a substantial delay. And these are all the concerns which are there. Till actually you come out and there is no clear manufacturing policy. Whatever you introduce, are they going to sustain for next 10 years? Because any capital investment would take close to about 8-10 years for repayment. So the clear-cut manufacturing policy is also not there, clearly defined. These are the things which are required, basically to ensure that Atmanirbhar Bharat is a success.
Correct. So, are we trying to say that the reduction in imports that has happened has actually not led to an increase in demand for modules which are produced within India?
No, not at all. Absolutely. Because whatever the situation we had earlier in terms of the cost competitiveness and the dumping by the neighboring countries, that is still continuing. So there is no, nor there is any special preference for Indian manufactured products. So there is no demand which has gone up because of this.
Right.
For domestically manufactured products.
In fact, domestic players at SEZs were also raising concerns over the government plans to impose basic custom duty on solar cells. What's the outcome of that, and how do you think it will impact the industry?
It is majorly going to impact the industry because 50% of the India's solar manufacturing capacity are operating from special economic zones. And the existing laws, if they are implemented as they are, the existing SEZ Act and all that, actually we will have to, whatever we manufacture in SEZ, we will have to pay duty on that, BCD on them also. Okay, though these are manufactured within India, these units will be treated like Chinese units, as if we are in China or XYZ countries.
What's the reason for that?
Because the existing act is like that.
Okay.
SEZ Act is like that. You will have to make some amendments to the act. You will have to let these products have to, should be able to sell in the domestic market. We have been enjoying that benefit in the last 10 years. You want to promote the manufacturing industry. But if you bring in a kind of a BCD and without any relief for SEZ units, it will only be suicidal, actually, to be frank with you. It will destroy existing manufacturing base. And we are not here to destroy existing manufacturing base and build new base outside SEZ. It doesn't make sense. Definitely, there should be a clear-cut relief to be given for SEZ units. Okay. Otherwise, the entire plan of Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think would face a lot of challenges.
Correct. So overall, if you talk about the input costs right now, which have increased, how has that impacted business, number one? And number two, has the cost of installing a solar system gone up in times of COVID right now? If yes, by how much? For example, if a consumer would spend, say, X amount, how much has it increased now?
It is almost increased by 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are two component prices have substantially gone up, like glass, what we use in solar modules. It has gone up 180%. And the EVA backsheet, they've gone up by almost like 80 to 90%. So the overall and the solar cells price have also gone up. So overall impact is aluminum prices are also gone up. Overall impact is at least anywhere between 10% to 15% kind of a impact, which is
Right. And overall, now, when we talk about the Indian government as well, uh, what will be becoming the world's largest clean energy program, because they're targeting 175 gigawatts of capacity by 2022, of which 100 will come from solar power. How big an advantage will this be for a company like yours?
no. I think it's a good thing, definitely. Because the aggressive targets which have been kept by the government of India will definitely facilitate manufacturing within India for sure. Very important thing is of course, from practically from nowhere in 2008, 2009, we have come to the level of about 35 gigawatt installed base in India of solar farms. It's a great achievement, but 85-90% of this entire thing has come from China. Okay. Now, if you talk about 100,000 megawatt, 1 lakh megawatt, what we're talking about, if we do not bring in BCD, if we do not bring in manufacturing policy, we do not bring in production linked incentive and other benefits to the lower interest rates for for both capital for capital as well as working capital loans, and the pass through, like whatever bid out projects, if they all get passed through, in terms of tariff and all that, because of the BCD impact. So I think we'll lose out the opportunity once again. We'll have to address these issues if we really want to encourage manufacturing in India. Like, for example, automobile industry, the way automobile industry was promoted between 2090 to 2010, 15-20 years, we were importing most of our automobile requirements earlier. Okay. But Government of India, the various governments have done, they brought in tariff barriers. They brought in non-tariff barriers. They built ecosystem within the country. They have made capital available. So with these initiatives, we have become self-sufficient. We are able to compete on our automobile. We are exporting quite a lot. Earlier, we were not exporting. Technology was not there. Scale was not there. The domestic market, growth has actually built the entire industry, and we are able to compete in the global markets. Something similar could happen in solar industry. There's a huge, huge opportunity. Close to about $60-70 billion of imports can be stopped, by just investing about $5-6 billion of investments into this sector. That's all, $5 billion. You can actually save close to about $60 billion. And if you go by the government of India, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream or vision of adding 450,000 megawatt by 2030, you can save much more billion, close to about $100-150 billion worth of imports into the country. You can save by just investing $5-6 billion of money into the country, and it will create a huge number of jobs. It will create the ecosystem. It will bring in the technology, the whatever technologies which will come in could pave way for fabs. We don't have any fab for in the country as of now. These technology and these learnings could really help to bring the entire electronic industry in the country into a different kind of a level.
Right. So right now, if you go to see, if we have to look at another country where you have been exporting, which market is the strongest for you, and which policies should India mirror if you have to look at one of the export markets?
No. The real export market for us today is an excellent export market for us is America, USA. we are doing very well in USA.
Hmm.
Our product and technology has been accepted very nicely in US market. Okay, we got consistent orders we are getting from various developers and customers in USA. I think that's and what USA is doing is basically they have brought in good amount of duties on the countries which are practicing unfair trade practices like China. Okay,
Correct.
so that has opened up huge market for us as a country. I think this is exactly what we have to do. Okay, if you want to manufacture, if you want to build a manufacturing base in India, we definitely need to bring in block unfair practices and introduce tariff barriers. And I'm sure it's a question of 5-6 years. Within this 5-6 years, we can build enviable kind of an industry, solar manufacturing industry in India, and which can actually meet the global needs. See, this is an industry revolution which is going on. Solar is an industry revolution globally. This is the fourth revolution, I can say. Because the solar is changing the entire dynamics of the energy sector. Like just 2-3 days back, there was 2 days back there was a reverse bidding. The cost of solar power has come down to 2 rupees for 1,000 megawatt kind of a projects. 2 rupees. So no other power source is able to kind of produce at that cost level. So the more and more countries are going to adopt solar, both for economic reasons and also for environment reasons. More and more is going to be adopted. The industry is going to grow in a very, very massive way. So this is a great opportunity for a country like India. So to focus on this, see what's happening is India tries to do everything.
Correct.
We don't focus on certain sectors. Now, fortunately, these 10 sectors have been identified. Hopefully, these 10 sectors will get enough kind of a support, especially solar, so that we can go and capture global markets. There is a huge opportunity in the global market. Our labor costs are not very high. Our labor costs are much lower than China. Our major costs are from financing. We pay about 12-13% interest rates, whereas China pays hardly about 3%, 4%. They give free land, free building to their manufacturers. In India, we don't get that kind of subsidies or support systems. We definitely need support for about 5-6 years. With that, we can actually, capture substantial market within India and global markets as well.
Right. And overall, to meet all of the demand that we could have, what are your expansion plans and what's the kind of fundraising you're looking at?
So we are actually, if you see, we have been expanding our manufacturing base in the last 10 years in a substantial way. If you take in 2009, we had a capacity of 12 megawatt only manufacturing capacity. By 2012, we have increased that capacity to 120 megawatt. In 2015, we raised it to 500 megawatt. In 2017, we raised it to 1 gigawatt. In 2020, we raised it to 1.2 gigawatt. We have been growing from 12 megawatt to 1.2 gigawatt. In a matter of 10 years, is a substantial growth in the manufacturing capacity. But if you look at substantial portion of that, we have been exporting, and using it for other projects. So with the policy initiatives, whatever is brought in, it will help us quite a lot. We are sure about it. So we are actually increasing our capacity by another 1 gigawatt immediately. We believe Government of India's, policies. So we are increasing our capacity by 1 gigawatt. We're setting up in Tamil Nadu. We have signed an MOU with Tamil Nadu government already, and this plant also will be ready in next couple of months, actually, quite advanced. And we are also integrating that with the cell unit that is also coming up. That may take about a year or so for barring the delays because of COVID, whatever is happening. So we are also increasing the capacity by another 2 gigawatt. Totally, our plan is to increase our capacity by 3 folds from existing 1.2. We want to make it as 4 gigawatt over a period of next 3 years. And it needs a capital investment of a little over 2,500 to 3,000 crores. is the total capex which is required. We, as we are growing, depending on the market developments, we will not set up the entire capacity in one single shot. We are doing it in phases in next 3 years. So we will be recovering this capital over a period of 3 to 4 years.
Right. So what's the kind of growth you're expecting in FY21, taking COVID into consideration, and then FY22?
I think FY21, if we are able to get the numbers what we have achieved in 1920, I think that itself is a great achievement. I think we are going to get there.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So 1920 numbers we are able to maintain in 2021.
Okay, and 22, what's the kind of bounce back you're expecting?
We are looking at close to about at least 40 to 50% growth from the existing numbers. Yeah.
Right. All right, Mr. Muthukkudi, thank you for speaking to us. It was a pleasure to get great insights from you for this division, and this segment of business as a whole. Good luck and stay safe, and hope to speak to you soon.
Thank you.